welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to the Premier Division season prediction show. This is one we enjoy every season. I was just saying to Keane before we came on air, we actually did quite well in this Keano last year. The only team that really caught us out was Dundalk. It does beg the question though, will someone catch us out this year? So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But we'll start off obviously from 10. We'll work our way up 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and the champions, obviously. And I'm going to let you go first. So who's your number 10? Who's bottom of the league this year?
Number 10, probably on everyone's list, to be UCD. Look, it's great to have them in the Premier Division. I was disappointed in Richmond that night when they actually got through. Look, it's great for Andy Moyler. It's great for UCD. It's great for them as a team. I'm not begrudging them that in the slightest. They earned the right to be there. I would have loved to see Waterford there. And I think if Waterford was here this year, I think there'd be a different, there'd be a different bottom of the table type of thing. It'd be a very good conversation. But it's just with the players that are probably going to be leaving in the summer. With that in mind, I think UCD will need to pick up as many points as possible from now till the summer. And, it's going to be a big ask for them after that. But I've gone by UCD there. Look, I don't think it'd be like last year. I don't think Longford would be down there. They'd be down there like Longford were now. I can't see that happening. But, I have UCD 10th. I think you had to pick someone.
Yeah, I mean, same. I agree. I went for UCD 10th as well, but I do think it'd be closer. I don't think it'd be quite like Longford. I think one of the things going for them is the fact that they've kept all the key players for now, Kerrigan in particular and Whelan, but you do be concerned the way they might lose them or one of them in the summer, and that kind of will weaken them again. But they've added a couple of players in, like Tommy Lonergan and players to that, but they're all young players, like, you know what I mean, that mightn't be in the first team necessarily immediately. I can't imagine that, to be honest. But they have kept the bulk of their players, to be fair. And as you say, Myler did a good job getting them up, but realistically, Waterford probably should have been looking to beat them, but that didn't happen, so that's not the case. They do play a good brand of football, though. They're exciting to watch, and also, they can let in a few goals as well. So that's, I suppose, you get a decent value for money out of a UCD match, don't you, to be fair. But it's very difficult to pick them. Yeah.
I'd recommend anyone to go down and have a look at them. The football they play, you'll enjoy it. There's going to be goals either way, whether it's UCD scoring them or the opposition scoring them. So,
and every year they unearth new young players as well. So they're always interested to watch, because you're looking around and see, right, who's the next Kerrigan, who's the Whelan, who's the next this and that. Yeah. And there always is more players of that in their squad,
Yeah, look, it's excellent to see. I think, I'd recommend, if you don't follow your team home and away, or get down to UCD if your team is playing down the country or something, because you won't be disappointed, and you'll definitely get your money's worth.
I do have them bottom like yourself. 9th, Keane, who are we going for?
9th, I've gone. It's a tough one. I think 9th, 8th, kind of the same for me. I've gone for Finn Harps. I just feel 9th for Finn Harps to be a great season again, as always. I think that's what Ollie Horgan strives on, finishing 9th. I just think that's probably. Look, last year I think they were kind of flattered by the start they made. I think they probably shit themselves a little bit when they seen themselves so high up the table so early on. But they were brought back down to earth very quickly and ended up right in the middle of a dogfight. But as always, Finn Harps, they always come out the other side of it. And, they're a well-established Premier Division team now, funnily enough, when you think of it. And I just think losing Tundi and stuff like that would be massive loss. I know they've signed some players. Bastian Hurley, probably the biggest name that they've probably signed, I would say, since Paddy McCourt in terms of name and status type of thing. But he's obviously going to. I think a lot of it is going to probably rely on Bastian and Barry and these type of players to try and drag them from like the battle, really. And I think that's we've seen Finn Harps over the last couple of years, and they're hard to beat, and everyone knows that. And I think we kind of don't do it justice enough. But this team can play. You know, they can play now and they can mix it up. It's not your Finn Harps of 10 years ago. You know, it's a brand new side with some really good players. I'm saying all this and I have them ninth, so I'm probably contradicting myself a little bit. But, you know, I just think that they're a good side. It's a different Harps, and I think we'll see a different Harps next year. Like, cause, you know, you obviously losing Mark Coyle, massive loss. They replaced him with Bastian Hurley. I can't see Bastian Hurley covering the ground as such that Mark Coyle would cover. But at the same time, I can see Bastian Hurley becoming a really big player and a really good player when Finn Harps have the ball. And I think they'll have a lot more possession in games now with Barry and Bastian and stuff like that than they would have had in previous years.
Yeah, I have them ninth as well, to be fair. But as you say, they're quite strong. But I do think they're weaker than last year. They made a lot of changes as well. They've lost Kyle, as you mentioned. The likes of Boyd, Tunde, Siddiqui's another one. The left back, he's gone out of my head there. Musto, he's gone as well. I thought he did well when he came in. And there's a couple of other players as well, the likes of Carlos Sullivan, players of that. They've added the likes of Mihailovic and players of that. The problem is with the likes of Mihailovic and the defender they brought in, Akin, literally have no idea how good they are, but we're going to assume they're decent because Ali Jorgen is an Akin doing that. But even at that, I think their squad's going to be a little bit weaker. Here he's an interesting one because, you know, depending how he does might depend how they do, because if he continues maybe some of the form the last couple of years, you know, he's going to be no addition. However, if he can somehow get back to that form, but it is a long time, it's 3 or 4 years now, Ciano, to be fair, can Ollie get that bit of magic out of him? It's difficult to know. So they're a bit of an unknown in that sense, because it's difficult to see how, you know, they're going to play with these new players, etc. But it's unlikely they're going to be as strong as last season, in my view. That said, some of the teams around them are going to be weaker as well. We might get on to them in a minute, but I still think ninth and a good chance of staying up at ninth, you know?
To be honest with you, Keith, I'm going through, like, I don't have it wrote down. I just say it off the top of my head, but I'm thinking how I have third, fourth, fifth in my head. And the reason I have these teams there is because I think they have got weaker, but I think the other teams have got weaker too.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't think it's like, for example, I'd say I'll have a couple of controversial calls. But what I'm saying is, though, I just think that's on the basis of not only the team that I have in that position, it's the other teams around them that have actually got weaker too, which puts that through it, you know. So I think a lot adds up to it. Look, I'm never going to get it right, but we'll give it a bash.
And what else adds up to it before we go on to the next thing as well is that a lot of players have come into these clubs. We don't really know how good they are, so we don't really know. We're assuming they're weaker. You know, that kind of way. 8th place.
8. As we do this in my head. First team that dropped into it was Drogs. I feel 8 to be a fantastic finish for Drogs. I had them 7th last year, if I believe rightly so. So I have them 8 this year. I just think they've signed really well. They've recruited really well.
But they've lost big players, haven't they? Like really big players.
They've lost some big players. The likes of, like, that's 13 goals. Now we are left winger. You know, he's gone, and that 13 goals is massive. Brown and Kane, who are instrumental to that. You know, so a lot of Joey Redmond at the back. You know, the keeper of the Musu. I know what the Musu and Collie were swapping between each other, and none of them really was number one. So
Phillips and O'Reilly.
Yeah, exactly, O'Reilly. But I do think the number one position there it'd be nailed down now for him, and you know, and I think that might help them in some sort of way, because one week it was Collie, the next week it was David, and you know, I just think now look, the two of them are as good as each other in my opinion. I don't think there was much between them, which was a compliment to themselves that they kept it 50-50 for the whole season. But, you know, I just think that little bit now, if they can sort out the keeper, and look, it's a new type of team, but they still have some big players. You know, Gary Deegan, he's not getting any younger. That's the only issue. You look at Dame Massey, who's the captain now. But this, to be honest, it's the bigger picture for me about Drogheda.
Yeah.
It's not about on the pitch, you know. It's the bigger picture off the pitch and how good they're doing. And, you know, a 5-year sponsorship with the local credit union, and, you know, stuff like that. Everything is local and everything, you know, I think people, like we said it last year, but I think Drogheda are probably setting the example for a lot of teams off the pitch. I think they're doing everything right, and that obviously comes back onto the pitch then under Kevin and Darren now, who's the assistant. But you know, you're looking at Darren Markey, there's some really good players in that side. It's just, I'd say it's very annoying. I think they were probably the biggest losers in the whole off season, you know, because look, I know Pats lost their manager, Dundalk took Stevie, then Pats went in and raided Drogheda. You know, so you think about like stuff like that, and you think Drogheda were probably the biggest losers out of the whole off season. But they, like I said, they got in early, they recruited well, and you know, it's really good. I think 8 will probably be in and around where I think they'll finish. I can't see them jumping as close to Europe as they did, but I can't really see them being in the dogfight as well. I'd say with about 10 games to go, we can see them being okay.
Yeah, I have them 8 as well, but I had them neck and neck with another team, but we might get onto that later. Yeah, I had them 8 as well. I think what it is with Drogheda, I think their starting 11 is considerably weaker because of the players that you mentioned that they've lost. Like, they're big players. I mean, you take them at most clubs in the League of Ireland, like, you know what I mean? Never mind Drogheda. Phillips is another loss as well. However, I think they have recruited well. That's the weird thing. And their squad is arguably stronger, as in the first 18. Do you know what I mean? In terms of depth. Ryan Brennan's come in and players like that. Evan Ware look really good. And I've seen him in pre-season here. A lot of good things about him. Rohan, they brought Rohan on loan as well. Poynton has come in, will add a bit of depth. Who else have they got in? Dean Williams up front with Foley and Lyons potentially. So they've a bit more depth. That's the funny thing. But their starting 11 is weaker. But the fact that the other teams around them look like they could be a little bit weaker as well, I think it's going to help them. Kevin Doherty's come in, and you'd like to think that's fairly seamless.
That's the squad, the size of the squad. I think it's. Look, I don't think
squad, isn't it?
I don't think they were ever going to go out and replace James Brown and Conor Kane, for example, and even Mark Doyle. You know, but I think they've added an awful lot more options to it, so they can change it up. And like I said,
Dylan Grimes
over the course of the season, you know, they might start picking up more points because of their squad depth more than anything else. And you will get on to the likes of Dundalk, even you know, Pats to a similar degree, who have really good squads, but really light in terms of numbers. And you know, I think that's where Drogheda might, just because I don't think there's much between the starting 11 and the subs bench. You know, I think anyone on the subs bench can play in the starting 11 type of thing. So you know, I think Drogheda, I have them 8, but that could be a false position. Yeah,
I mean, I had them neck and neck with the next team, but who have you got in 7th?
I've put Sligo in there.
This is where we skew a little bit. Go on.
Yeah, I've stuck Sligo in there. Look, I think that's 7th, isn't it? Yeah. So I think 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, and possibly 3rd is a little league in itself. And I swear, I think this is literally going to be 3 points between 7th and 3rd. For the course of the season, I can't see it. You know, I can see every team beating everyone. So I have them 7th, but I like I said, the team that I have 3rd could easily finish 7th, in my opinion. I just think they haven't recruited yet. Now, look, I know they're trying to get players in at the minute. They could get 2 or 3 players in this week, and that'll change drastically. But you know, I just think they're very light for a team in Europe as well. You know, come the summer when the games are playing thick and fast, and you know, we've seen how badly they struggled last season in Europe, and then that kind of hangover to that right the way through. I think they beat Pats in the middle of August, and that was probably their first win in about 13 or 14 games last year. And you know, that was a little bit worrying for them to finish 3rd. Like, I can't believe they stayed 3rd, to be honest with you. But you know, I just think this year, like I said, every team has got weaker. That's the good thing for Sligo. But I just think Sligo are a little bit more weaker than they probably have been since Liam has been there. I think Keane is a great addition. Really good. Liam knows him well. Liam looked after him very well at Pats. And he done really well in the friendly for Pats against Hearts, and that's how he got his move. But, he's back now. And, he'd be wanting to hit the ground running. I think it's a long time since Sligo had a striker that people were excited about. And I think Aidan could, obviously you had Johnny and stuff
Kenny,
like that.
But
you're bringing in the likes of a Danny North or an Anthony Eldon type of thing. So I think Aidan will do a good job. He's a good age. He's not young. He's not as young as, we call a young player now. But, I think that just, like I says, they still have Greg, but he's not getting any younger. He's probably the best, for me, he's probably up there with still the best holding midfielder in the country. And obviously the likes of Gary Buckley. But Mahon is a massive loss. And I just think, the young fella from New Zealand coming in and stuff, you don't know how these work. Liam has a great eye for a foreign player. I'd say Dave Campbell takes the credit on that. But, Dave does really good work. And, like I said, I have them there. They could easily be forward. And next week's time, we could even push them higher because I know they're looking. I know they are looking to add to the squad. And I just hope for Liam's sake, he's a well-respected man, and I can't see him panic buying. I can see him waiting for quality. And, we mightn't see Sligo really kick into gear probably till after Europe if they probably get a couple of bodies in the summer. But, I think at this minute in time, we have them 7th. I don't know why. They're just the first ones that popped into my head.
I've Shelbourne in 7th place now. I think with Shelbourne is the fact that they're a bit unknown quantity compared to the other teams in many ways. I do think they'll be stronger than last year in the First Division. They had a good squad in the First Division, but I think the addition of likes of Connor Kane at wing back and J.R. Wilson, I think is going to be one that people mightn't have seen him play much because they wouldn't have watched the Premier Division, but I think Wilson and Kane could be really strong on those wings. Kyle and Dervin are going to give them a bit of guts and a bit of bite in the middle of the park as well. Up front, you'd say, have they got the quality up front? Obviously, they've Sean Boyd, they've a few players like that up front, but Dan Carr, sorry, that's the other one I was trying to think of who came in as well. And it'll be interesting to see how he does. He obviously did well at Shamrock Rovers. He's kind of changed clubs a few times the last few years, but maybe back in the league might help him as well. The other unknown is Damien Duff. How's he going to do as a manager? We all know how passionate he is, how good a player he was, but how well will he do as a manager is another question for me as well. At the back, they're reasonably strong, as I said before as well. They're an unknown quantity. I think comparing them to Drogheda there, I think Drogheda have a stronger actual squad, actually. So I'm a little bit with them too. I'm kind of not really too sure, but with Shelbourne, I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle personally. That's the way I see it. But I don't think they'll have enough to qualify for Europe either. So for me, Shelbourne in 7th place. Who have you got 6th?
Shels.
Thought you might.
Similar to what you said, but you say they're a bit of an unknown quantity. For me, I think Duffer has signed some really reliable players.
Yeah.
Mark Coyle knows the league. These players that he's bringing in know the league. Mark Coyle, what a player he was last season and for the last number of seasons. But last season was the real season that I think people stopped and looked at him.
McAniff could be an interesting one as well, the loan sign from Arsenal. I forgot about him. He could be a big player for them too.
He could be a big player, but I'm not worried about him. I think I'm looking at A. Dervin in there as well. And what an addition he is. Aaron O'Driscoll, who single-handedly got Longford to 14 points last year. Him, Lee Stacey, A. Dervin. I think they were the 3 players that kind of kept Longford on the straight and narrow a little bit. But like I said, I think he signed reliable players. I think he signed players that was obviously it's about 15 players in, if I'm right, in and around that anyway.
Yeah, in around that,
about 15 out as well. So it was a big, massive turnover. But I believe I've been hearing some really good things about Shels in pre-season, hearing about their sessions and how well their players are taken on board.
I do expect them to be fitter, Keno, because they did start ahead of everyone else, and even in pre-season, they seem to be a little fitter than everyone else. Now, I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, because can you keep that till the end of the season?
Yeah, no, look, they're gone full time now. I'm looking at them in 6th. I think they can huff and puff a little bit, and be in around the top 4. Like I said, I think 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th is a little league in itself. And if you can pick up your 3 points there, you'll be in the mix. But I just think Shels, that they're going to have to start well. They have a great game on the box against Pat's first day of the season. I think that's going to be a really good atmosphere. I believe Shels are going to sell out. And it's going to be a good one. I think the fans are really in the right direction. It's a club going places again, and I think Duffy can lead that. Like I said, he's a bit of an unknown to the league, but he's been involved at the 17s. He's obviously been involved with Shamrock Rovers, so he's not this brand new person into the league. He's been there. He understands it. He knows the facilities. But I think Shels in 6th, but they could surprise a few. I think in 6th and a cup run would be a good one for them.
I think so. I have Sligo Rovers in 6th, and I'm at this stage where Sligo Rovers could finish 6th, but they could finish 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th. I don't think there's going to be an awful lot between these teams, really. But I do think, I know what you're saying, I know Sligo are looking at to bring in a couple of players as well, but at the same time, they brought in Wilson, Fitzgerald, O'Sullivan, Kirk, Keena, and this guy Nando from New Zealand. It's decent, but losing Kenny and Mahon are huge. I think their squad last year was very, very thin, and just looking at them now, even if they added 2 or 3, which is probably the max they're going to add now, I still think it's a bit too thin. You mentioned Greg Bolger there, and agree with you, but Greg Bolger will not be fit all season. He will not be fit all season. He hasn't been fully fit for, I'd say, about 3 seasons now. But when he's on the pitch, he's excellent. We've seen it last year. When he was missing, it was a disaster, But they still have a good defence. Even with Mahon out, I think their back 5 is still maybe the 3rd best potentially in the league. But I still think if they're missing out their 3 midfielders, Bulger, Morahan, and MacDonald, there's a big gap in quality there, I think, compared to maybe the other teams that are going to be around them. And I think up front, even with Keena there, and even if they bring in someone else, they mightn't quite have enough with the wingers. I'm talking about up front as in the front 3 compared to some of the other teams that I have ahead of them, let's say. Yeah. So for that reason, I think they'll finish 6th. They'll be reasonably solid, but I think they might be a little bit blunt overall and a little bit weaker squad-wise. If you got 5th?
I've got Dundalk in 5th. I think mid-table. I think Stevie will have them well drilled. I think they'll be very hard to beat. We know what we're going to get from them. You're going to get a tough game. He signed well, but he signed right like he did at Pats. I think, he loves bringing in quality instead of quantity type of thing. And I can understand that, but it's risky bringing in, the likes of Robbie Benson again as your top player when he's probably going to play 20 games, and it's tough, if even that. I don't know how many games he played for Pats last year, but it wasn't even 20, I don't think. He's obviously the marquee signing back, Pat Human, Andy Boyle, Garts, losing Cleary, losing Dummigan, losing Duffy, losing McElhenney, and Murray, Patchen, so it's massive quality gone. But they've signed for Relish, I think, in terms of, Griffin from Waterford, who I thought was really good. He's
Martin, John Martin, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, John
the player.
Martin.
Yeah.
John Martin.
Really good player.
From UCD, and he's bringing these type of players in. Obviously,
quite a few loan players in, Keane, isn't there? There's a lot of loan players, though, which I'm never a biggest fan of.
Players. But in saying that, we had a lot of loan players at Pats as well, in terms of, Yaros and, Alfie Lewis, when you think back to it and stuff like that, Name Melvin, Kieran and Wogo. These, he likes a loan player, I think, Stevie, but I think 5th would be probably the best they can wish for. And obviously a cup run wouldn't go amiss. I was saying that about every team, to be honest. Everyone wants a cup run.
Never goes amiss.
No, everyone wants a cup run. But I think 5th in the league for Dundalk. Yeah. And I think that's probably as good as you can get so early on. Look, they have some fantastic firepower. They can really hurt you. And we could easily see them in. You could easily see them in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it's just over the course of the season, squad wise, and I think that's the thing for me. It's over the course of the season. I think they might just fall out of Europe, but I have them 5th.
I have them 5th as well, and I suppose a lot of the reasons why you have them 5th, to be fair, as well. I just think there's a lot of. I think they're kind of starting again. Dundalk. They're resetting here. They're on a foundation level, if you like. I don't think Stevie's much to lose this season, to be honest, which I think the next season he might, though, to be fair. But this season he doesn't. They did retain the likes of Hooban and Kelly and Boyle and those kind of key players, but a lot of lone players from Wales, actually, in particular, we don't know an awful lot of, but we do know they're Welsh under 21, so you assume they come in with decent quality. Paul Doyle is a good one as well, I think. John Martin. You're right about Benson, very good player. He'd be good in the dressing room. He's not going to play every game, a bit like Bulger as well. They're a side that I think the fans are just happy that they feel like they got their club back now after the turmoil really of last season. And it's a very Irish, British looking team as opposed to last season as well, which probably is better, to be honest with you, as well. The too many players last year from here, there, and everywhere, and it just didn't mix.
Honest with you, Keith, I said I couldn't give you a shit if you have players playing from Africa coming over here, and if they're doing well. It's when they're not doing well, questions start getting asked, and that's being brought into it. Like if
I think with what happened to them, though, is they brought too many of them in, and it seemed like it didn't seem like it was a coherent plan in what they were trying to do. I think that's the point. Whereas now it does, but you're right, they've lost a lot of key players as well. They're simply starting again. I still think they'll be tight. I think they can get into Europe potentially. I think they're going to be close. They could easily finish 3rd or 4th, in my opinion. But like you, I just have them 5th for those reasons. Who have you got in 4th?
Now this is where the controversy starts.
I think I know what you're going to say. Go on.
Just hear me out, everybody, right? I am going to go with Bohs 4th.
Oh, okay. Thought you were going to say something else.
I have a feeling Bohs are going to finish 4th this year. I think that's it's tough to break into that European bracket. I keep saying it, but people don't understand how big it is that when you lose over for a season to get back into it. No, I think the hunger to be there from them.
4th could get them Europe.
Exactly. Probably not. But you look at Bohs and like I says, and I say a slagging all the time, but I really mean it. They're always that nearly club. They nearly got into Europe this year. They nearly won last year. They nearly won the cup last year, and stuff like that. And I think that they're better at that now. They're after having that day out in the Aviva. I know they didn't win it, but they put up a good fight. I do think the squad is weaker. But the reason I have them 4th, I think their squad is weaker than last year. Yeah. But I think everyone else has got weaker too. And I think 4th, that's where they're going to be. I think I'm being very very kind to Bohs here. I'm putting them in 4th because I don't think they have the firepower up front as a number 9. I don't think Promise isn't a number 9. Promise is a winger. He's kind of played there when Bohs had nobody up there. But bringing Cassidy in, great prospect, but it's a risky one. Twardek, I've no doubt to be a fantastic signing. I do think Bohs, they're hammering on about losing Keith Buckley and stuff, and I genuinely believe this. I think Bohs fans will actually realise probably that he's not going to be missed. He's not going to be missed as much as you probably think, in my opinion. I don't think I think they've signed better in the middle, in terms of the lad coming back from America and stuff like that. And I think he's a much better player. Look, Keith gives you the heart. He's a box to box. He'll run everywhere for that club. He'll run everywhere for that team. He'll do whatever he can on the pitch. Look, Bohs are a working class club, and I think Keith Buckley in that epitomised that, and he was really that type of player that gave it to him. But I'm looking at the people in the Bohs side, and I'm saying probably 4th, and that's being kind. I don't know why, but I'm being very kind putting them 4th. I think But like I said, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh can literally, for me, finish anywhere in that little group.
Yeah, I agree. And I have them fourth as well. And again, I think I'm a bit kind to them as well. But like you, I think like everyone around them is kind of weaker as well. The Dundalk are starting again, and Sligo have gone back slightly in my estimations as well. I think the thing with Bohs is with the likes of Cornwall and Buckley, it's more a case of maybe losing experience because the lack of experience in that squad now. Obviously, Tierney and Kelly are big losses as well. There's no doubt about it, and Andy Lyons, but there's a lack of experience. I know Flores has come in. He's slightly older than some of the other players. So I always thought Flores was a little bit hit and miss at Dundalk, if I'm honest with you, when he was here first. So he'd score great goals, but in the actual game, you know what I mean, he wouldn't really be involved too much. So he's not that type of player. They'll be hoping that maybe Devoy kicks on again next season, gives them a bit more there. But up front, they do have an interesting dynamic because I think Promise can actually, believe it or not, be moulded into a centre forward. I think he's going to start ahead of Cassidy, certainly initially. They do have decent wingers in Twardek, Burt, if they can get Malin fit, but it seems to be always a problem for Street Malin, but he's a very exciting player. Crucial players like that.
Look, I think, to be honest, in this Bohs side, I think Twardek could play through the middle. I think, Dawson Devoy could even play through the middle at times. I think they...
Interchange.
If you have two really good wingers, and which I think they do on board the Twardek, I think, like we probably seen with Pats last year, you can actually get away with not having a striker. I think you can kind of... You don't need one. I think obviously Tierney is a massive loss, and I think Tierney is a bigger loss than Keith Buckley, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I know Bohs have an affinity with Keith Buckley, and I get that, and I understand the love and passion he has. But I think Bohs now in the middle are actually better without him. In terms of, look, you lose his leadership skills, what you spoke about, you lose that experience, you lose all that. I understand that. I'm not saying he's a terrible player before people start hammering me. I'm saying, look, he's, I just think they can do better. Yeah. And I think if Bohs want to go to the next level, I think now is the opportunity with Flores. I think he's a really good player. If he can get in there, and we know what Keith Long does to players and Trevor Crowley does to players. If we can get him for them, Jesus, so I do. I think that's why I have Bohs on fourth.
Yeah, I have the fourth as well, as I said, and I think they'd be happy with fourth, if I'm honest with you, because I think they'll still have major problems defensively. I can see them scoring a lot of goals, but I do see them exciting, as well, like last season in many ways. But let's just see how they go. Who have you got in third place? We're into the top three now, Keano.
I have my own, the Silver Saints. I have us in there. Look, I think third. I don't think that's being coined. I just because I'm a Pats fan, I don't think it's being coined. I did say before we even got on to this little group that I'm talking about that it's every team has got weaker. I don't think Pats have got as weak as people think. Now I know Pats have probably we've lost the goalkeeper, we've lost Lee Desmond, we've lost Benson, we've lost Matty Smith. They're massive players gone out of the side. But I think Alan Doyle up there, that's Matty Smith's position gone. We're not sure on the 9 in goal, but we'll see how he gets on. We have to look. We didn't know much about Beat when he came in. At the back, I think Joey Redmond is a massive signing. I think he's a big presence.
Breslin, I think gives them something else.
And I think Breslin,
a wing back.
I think I can see us playing with a 5.
Eventually, I think so. Yeah.
And when I say 5, I mean 3.
Yeah.
3 with the ball, 5 without the ball type of thing. But I think in the middle, midfield, in terms of you have Adam O'Reilly, you have Ben McCormick, who for me I think this season is really going to show what he's worth.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to get a chance now. You have Kane Corbley there, who I think will. I'll say it like this: I think Kane Corbley will do what Ben McCormick done last season.
Yeah,
in terms of coming off the bench and actually making more of a mark. And at the same time, it's the same with Adam Murphy, I think, as well. We're not forgetting the likes of Jay McClelland, who can play in a number of positions. And I think, Pats for me, I think with the firepower up front, like I think we've 8 or 9 forwards, to be honest with you. But 8 or 9 forwards of good quality, and you're looking at Darragh Bohs, you're looking at Mark Doyle, Owen Doyle, Ronan Coughlin, Tundi Owolabi, Jay McClellan. Who else are we missing out on there?
I think you're missing someone, but I don't know who. Billy King.
Billy King, of course, Jesus.
I know, it went in my head as well.
And we obviously have Kyle Robinson as well there. And it's really good. I think that's why I think we're playing 2 up front, because if you play with 1 striker, you're not going to keep people happy. So I genuinely believe so that the firepower up front, the quality in the field, and we're not sure on the right full and Jack Scott.
No, we're not sure yet. No,
we're not sure, but you could easily mould a player into a right full type of thing. James Abankwah, even for the 4-6 months, stuff like that. Things didn't go well, but look, I've no doubt Tim has done his homework. I think we've got a real good squad together, and we got our business done really early, and I think that'll stand to us. You're looking at Sligo now, who are probably going to have to go out and get 3 or 4 players next week, which is it's not the best preparation type of thing. I think Dundalk probably started a little bit behind as well. I think Bohs got in early and got their signings done and re-signings done, so that'll stand to them. But I think Pat's a 3rd, but like I said, could easily finish 7th. I'd say, you win 2 games, you're going to be up there. You lose 2 games, you're going to be stuck in that middle pack. So, I don't think it'll be as easy next season for Pats to finish where they finished last year, because we kind of fell over the line. But it's great to be talking about Pats and hoping that we can actually finish 3rd, because if you go back over the years, I'm not being biased, but I've Pats down in 5th and 6th and stuff like that. So I just think this is the first time that under team, I think we can really give it a right go and look and take 4th spot in Europe. And if we can hold on to our cup, I have to say now, I love the celebrations, but I'm still recovering. But I have to say now, I'm really looking forward to the season for Pats now, and I think Tim has got a good side. Like I said, we're all pushing in the right direction as a club, and I'm going to go Pats 3rd.
Yeah, I have them 3rd as well. I think there's a lot of goals in the team, to be honest with you. A little bit like Bohs. I think there's a lot of goals in the team, but maybe not as strong defensively overall. I think they might concede some goals, but I think they're more experience overall, the Bohemians have. So that's why I have them in 3rd. I think as well, though, obviously Tim Clancy will still need a bit of time, because I think he might shift through a couple of formations and systems as well. Yeah. I think ideally he wants to play 3 at the back with wing back. So we'll see how that goes. I think from Pat's point of view, after winning the cup, finished 2nd, they'll be a little bit disappointed that maybe they didn't keep more players and kick on. But at the same time, after the situation, if you can get them in a position where they finish 3rd, that's brilliant. Because I see them a bit like Dundalk, a little bit, where it's a little bit of a start again, a reset. And like Tim himself has actually said that, in the future, we need to keep on to more players. This is how we're going to develop. So him saying that would suggest that the club are probably looking to do that after this season. So that's something something they'll try and look to kick on for. But in the meantime, if they can finish in the top 3, which I think they can, and as I said, I tipped them to finish 5th last season, I think that would be seen as a good level to come from.
I'm not saying we're great. I think we've an awful long way to go.
The
other teams have got weaker.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
I still think overall the league is stronger. I don't know why, but I feel like every game is a lot tougher. Every game is a lot tougher, but I don't know whether that's because the quality is going up or the quality of the squad is going down a little bit. And, it's kind of bringing everyone more on a level playing field.
Yeah.
But, I just think Pat's Bohs, between the two of them, they have every right to be the best of the rest. And
I think Pat's a little bit more experienced than Bohs. That's where I'm coming from. And I think even though I think Pat's might have a few little issues defensively, I think they're going to be a bit stronger defensively than Bohs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just the way I see it as well. So they should, I think, finish in third place. I think that's fair enough to say.
Like that.
Exactly. Who have you got in second?
I put Derry in second. No surprise. It's a risky one. They put their money in. They put their hand in their pocket a few times, not only once. And they've
in terms of fees,
they've signed some really big players. Really exciting players. And it's great to see such a buzz. It's great to see Derry City as a whole coming back to where they belong. It's mad to think last year how bad the start of the season was to now. Now we're talking about them potentially challenging Shamrock Rovers, and can they challenge them? I think they can. I think over the course of 36 games, I think they have the squad. I think they have the quality, and I think they're on par with Shamrock Rovers. I think they're probably, for me, a top centre half away from being worthy champions. Look, Owen Towell is obviously there and stuff like that. But, I know Boyce will probably, I don't know whether he'll play on the right or whether he'll play in the centre. But I still think, for me, if Derry really wanted me to, we would nearly tip Derry to win it if they got a top centre half. For me, look, Mark Janet and stuff like that, some really good quality players. I'm not saying he's not. But you've seen Rovers with Lopez, and you've seen Rovers with Joey O'Brien, and Lee Grace, Liam Scales, and you're looking at them parents, and I just think Towell is definitely going to hold teams, especially from attacking set pieces. Never mind defending. He reminds me of Evan McMillan. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
He was usually a goal between centre half. But I'm looking at teams. There's not many better than Derry. I don't even think we're Shamrock Rovers. I think the key games, look, Derry obviously have to win the rest of their games. Shamrock Rovers have to win the rest of their games. But I think the key games are going to be Shamrock Rovers and Derry. And, if you can not lose, I'm not saying go and win it. I'm saying not lose against Shamrock Rovers. Like, you look last year, Pats lost to Rovers in injury time, and conceded so many goals against Rovers. And that was the difference in the points. So, if Derry don't lose against them, I can see Rovers dropping points this year. But I can also see Derry dropping points, of course. But, it's who drops the most points. I don't think it's who wins the most, to be honest. I think between the top two, it's who drops the most or who slips up the most. It's, I think you're going to need a serious points total here to win the league. I think it could be a record points total, in my opinion. I think Derry and Rovers are going to go right to the end, and it's an exciting title race if it comes to it, and I don't fancy going to the Brandywell, and look, I don't fancy going to Tally.
I've Derry in second as well, and to be honest, I hope they challenge Shamrock Rovers because I think they're the only team at this minute in time, anyway, is capable of challenging them. I think what I like about their recruitment, first of all, last season, before they recruited as such, they got better as the season got on. They were the most improved team. McGonigal is going to be there as well now for the full season. I think he's an excellent player. His movement is unbelievable. Good finisher as well. But they just seem to brought in these players that just seem to fit. Like Duffy, you know what I mean? Shane McElhenney, a decent backup in defence. Dummigan can play left and right. We've got Lafferty and Boyce there. Brandon Cavan, I think, is an excellent footballer. Obviously, Matty Smith. It's scary in a way that you could have Kavanagh, Smith, Michael Duffy and McGonigal in some shape or form. Patching in some shape or form. I think they're as good as Rovers in the attacking areas. I think they're nearly as good as Rovers defensively. I actually think the difference is, in my personal opinion, is the midfield. I don't think it's quite up there with Shamrock Rovers. I think McElhenney is excellent, as we all know, Patrick, but he will have injury issues as well. But whereas I do like Derry's midfield, I think it's good. To match up against that Shamrock Rovers midfield is very, very difficult. We'll obviously get on to them in a minute, but I believe they can challenge them, to be fair, but they need to have a good start. They need to gel quickly. And as you said before, it's all right bringing all these players, but they have to gel. But at the same time, you can look at it and see a real plan, and it's very difficult to see them not do so well. Also, I think the key is, Keane, they didn't lose anyone either. They lost nobody of note. They managed to keep Owen told and looked like he was going to go. I think if it wasn't for the investment, he probably would have went. And funny enough, he might have went to Shamrock Rovers, which is another one. So that's a massive win in itself, like, you know. But it's great for the city of Derry. We all know what the Derry fans are like, and the Brandywell faithful. You know, so I'm delighted that you know, they look like they should challenge Shamrock Rovers this season. Champions. Who's going to be the champions?
You know, they don't even need any introduction, but
we'll end the video.
They're by far the best, you know, and they have been for a number of years now. You know, they just seem to add to their squad every year, and their squad
without having to do much to add to their squad.
Like, you know, Jack Bourne and Andy Lyons. For me, the right wing back position was a big one. I didn't think Sean Gannon had the season that he should have.
No.
Now he looks like he's going to play in the right of a tree, and now Andy Lyons has an opportunity now to really kick on and play in that position. I'm excited that the signing of Andy Lyons. I
expect him. I don't know about you. Do you expect him to do better wing back as an actual right back in a back four?
I don't mean this to be disrespectful to Bohs, but you know, when you make that move to Shamrock Rovers, it's a different level. And even if you went from Pats to Shamrock Rovers, you know, like, I don't think Pico would go and play for, you know, Cape Verde. I don't think they'd do all this if he was at Bohs. Now, I know Andy Lyons was in the underage teams at Ireland, and he's doing really well. But I genuinely think now we're going to be seeing one of the best fullbacks in the league. I don't think he's going to stay here, so I can't say, you know, the best fullback that probably the league is going to see, because you've obviously players like Darren Huey, Brian Shelley, all these type of players that played year on year in the league.
Yeah.
But, you know, I genuinely think for when Rovers have him, it's not the move Andy Lyons wanted. He wanted to go across the water. I think he made that very clear. He was training with Bohs, and you know, within a week he was in a Rovers top signing for them. So it all happened so quick. I don't think he'll regret it. I think it'll definitely make his career flourish. Look, when you put a Shamrock Rovers jersey on you, thankfully I've never done that, by the way. But if you put one on as a player, I think away is an awful lot more than any other jersey in the country.
Yeah.
And you know, I think there's an expectation there. And look, I'm not saying there's not expectations in Bohs or Pats or Derry or anything, but I just think that Shamrock Rovers one is the, you know, every player probably wants to play in this Shamrock Rovers team. And to get the opportunity for Andy, I think he's well deserved. I think his performances have been unbelievable. To see him there, and then obviously look, the return of Jack Bourne. You know, plain and simple. Look, it's great to see. I think we spoke about it. I won't repeat myself, but we spoke about it on the preview for the President's Cup game. I just think people are just going to have a little bit of patience for what a player you have there, you know. And you list off the midfielders, you list off now the defending options they have. I think Joey O'Brien would be a big one for them, you know. And I think I'd say Stephen Bradley would have liked him to keep him in the club as a coach. But, you know, I think you have Alamanis, you've Ronan Finn, you've Ivan Green, you've Gaffney.
So all those experienced players as well,
big leaders there, you know. And I think they'll, I don't think it'll be an issue, but look, Shamrock Rovers, they're a good side. There's no beating around the bush. Like I said, I think over the course of 90 minutes, especially on Friday, I think like the Pats, I think Bohs, Dundalk, Shels, Sligo, everyone, no matter the name of everyone there. But I think over the course of 90 minutes, I think every team can actually beat them. But it's over the course of the season with the strength and depth they have. I think that's why I have them top.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think they have a psychological edge over most of the teams in the league. Not Bohs for some reason. It's very strange, that dynamic at times. But in general, they do. And they proved last year that they're one of the few teams that can go out on the pitch and maybe not perform to their best and still nick a game 1-0 or 2-1 or whatever as well. And the squad they have, they've done it to everyone actually. That's the funny thing. The squad they have is just it's a brilliant squad, but it's a settled squad as well. And I do think they might have one eye in Europe a little bit as well. So if Derry could get close to them, you never know, to be honest with you, because that's something they want to improve on. But young players coming through like a Maku as well, he's going to add a bit of dynamism up front as well for them as well. They can rotate with him, Gaffney and Green. That midfield, they can keep fresh because of so many good midfielders. Richie Tell, it's so fresh, that midfield. They can keep it fresh. And I agree with you, Jack Byrne, actually. The only thing I would say there is that even Jack Byrne, 75%, is a fabulous player. Like, that's the funny thing about it. You know yourself, but they're in a position where they actually can pick and choose which games and to kind of ease them in because of the quality they have in midfield. Nobody else really has that luxury. Very solid at the back, great leadership at the back. Pico Lopez was excellent for Cape Verde as well. He looked a level above. It's very difficult to see them not winning the league. The only thing, if you want to play devil's advocate, that maybe could stop them winning the league is maybe they drop a little bit in a hunger level, but I can't see that happening in my opinion.
Not playing for Shamrock Rovers, you're playing for the biggest club in the country.
And also, if you're not playing well, there's someone else quality in the bench that can come in. So yeah, if that happens, that happens. So that's the way I see it. So we leave it there, guys. There wasn't an awful lot between our teams, actually, to be fair, or predictions, to be fair. But it'd be interesting to see come the end of the season if we look back and if anyone's surprised either by doing so well or struggling or whatever. That's going to be very interesting as well. There always is. Yeah, there always is. So guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Who's going to finish where? Who's going to be champions? Who's going to be relegated? Who's going to qualify for Europe? Who's going to be looking enough to win the cup? Subscribe to the channel, hit your bell notification button, like the video, and thank you for watching.